Welcome to the Folktale Project. This is Dan Scholz. And today we have the second and final part to the story of Rumpelstiltzkin, a tale which we're all very familiar with, I'm sure, but still, this is a version that I do really enjoy. Where we left off, the king had demanded that the young maid spin straw into gold 3 nights in a row, and Rumpelstiltzkin had come and saved her 3 nights in a row. First, receiving her necklace, then her ring, and finally her word that she would hand over to him her firstborn child. And, as we left, she was made a queen. But now a year has passed, and it's time to pick back up with the story of Rumpelstiltzkin. When a year had passed, a beautiful son was born to her, and she thought no more of the little man till all of a sudden one day he stepped into her room and said, "Now, give me what you promised." The queen was in a great state and offered the little man all the riches in her kingdom if he would only leave her the child. But the mannikin said, "No, a living creature is dearer to me than all the treasures in the world." Then the queen began to cry and sob so bitterly that the little man was sorry for her and said, "I'll give you 3 days to guess my name, and if you find it out in that time, you may keep your child." Then the queen pondered the whole night over all the names she had ever heard, and sent a messenger to scour the land and to pick up far and near any names he should come across. When the little man arrived on the following day, she began with Casper, Melchior, Belshazzar, and all the other names she knew in a string, but at each one the mannikin called out, "That's not my name." The next day she sent to inquire the names of all the people in the neighborhood, and had a long list of the most uncommon and extraordinary for the little man when he made his appearance. "Is your name, perhaps, Sheepshanks, Crookshanks, Spindleshanks?" But he always replied, "That's not my name." On the 3rd day the messenger returned and announced, "I've not been able to find any new names, but as I came upon a high hill round the corner of the wood, where the foxes and hares bid each other good night, I saw a little house, and in front of the house burned a fire, and round the fire sprang the most grotesque little man, hopping on one leg and crying, 'Tomorrow I brew, today I bake, and then the child away I'll take, for little deems my royal dame that Rumpelstiltzkin is my name.'" You may imagine the queen's delight at hearing the name, and when the little man stepped in shortly afterwards and asked, "Now, my lady queen, what's my name?" She asked first, "Is your name Conrad?" "No." "Is your name Harry?" "No." "Is your name, perhaps, Rumpelstiltzkin?" "Some demon has told you that! Some demon has told you that!" screamed the little man, and in a fit of rage he drove his right foot so far into the ground that it sank in up to his waist. Then in a passion he seized the left foot with both hands and tore himself in 2. And that is the end, quite literally, of Rumpelstiltzkin. And as I said, it's a story that we've all heard at some point before, but I like this ending better. Certainly better than the version where Rumpelstiltzkin just slams his foot so hard that he opens up a crack to hell that he falls into. There's something about him throwing himself into such a passion that he actually tears himself in half that, well, I love. It seems like a fitting way for him to go in this story where there really aren't any good people. This is Dan Scholz of the Folktale Project. Don't forget that you can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Overcast, anywhere you like to get your podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram at Folktale Project. You can find us on Auto Radio, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify, anywhere you like to listen. And you can always head over to folktaleproject.com, where you'll find a new story waiting for you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if you'd like to help support the podcast, you can always head over to patreon.com/folktaleproject, or you can just share the podcast with somebody. Let them know how much you enjoy it and share your favorite story. There's plenty to choose from. Next week we'll be back starting a brand new tale, a long story that is a surprise, and I do hope that you'll enjoy it. As always, thank you so much for listening.